My name is Berookim. I was born in Tehran, Iran in 1948. I was born in a very Jewish family and very traditional, and our history goes back to 2,500 years in Iran. From ancestry that they were telling me that our background comes from Babylon to Iran during the war. So we are actually the real Jew of Iran, if you want to call it. And I was born in 1948, and since I remember myself, we always had discrimination, persecution, insult to our religion, to our race, and we never had a very comfortable position with the Muslim group that they were in our neighborhood, in the school. And I have many memories of got beat up in the school because my name was Berookim, Abraham, and I happened to know my family well because we actually founded brought dictionary to Iran for the first time. So everybody knew Berookim is a Jewish name, and they were using our books at the same time they were insulting us. So that's the culture. They don't have sense of appreciation of how we did for this country. Their civilization of Iran is mixed with the Arab, Turks, Mongols, and the real Persians, as you want to call, and everybody says Persians must be the Jew, because we didn't integrate with any other, we didn't assimilate with any other groups, but they have. So actually we have more right to Persian lands than anybody else in the history. And but they didn't realize that. They were told by mullahs that everybody must be Muslim. If you are not a Muslim, so you are infidel. And once you are infidel, either you convert or you will be killed. And they're accusing of different blames that we kill their children and put it in our bread for Passover. Now it's the Passover time. I'm just telling you, they were claiming that we were stealing their children and they putting the blood of their children to our matzah, which was a big deal for them. And they're very jealous in all respect. In our class, we were doing very well as a group, as a Jew, because we were very smarter than them, and they hated us. And they always claimed that we were cheating rather than studying hard. But the discrimination was always existed during the time that I was in Iran.
Can you tell me about your family's publishing company and the dictionaries?
My grandfather, who went to school, the school was, they called them Alliance. It was a French organization, Jewish organization, who came to Iran to educate the Jewish community. So my grandfather, who was the result of getting education from that organization, eventually he became a principal of the school. Once he became principal of the school, he realized that he should go for himself to a business. So he opened a bookstore. As a result, he didn't find that many books. He brought the poetry of Iran. He translated all the poetry of Iran to French, English, and he published it. Then he realized that there is no dictionary to translate so well, so he hired his cousin. His name was Suleiman Haim. Suleiman Haim is the man behind the dictionary. So my grandfather financed him, and he wrote 3 main dictionaries, French, English, and Hebrew. And for the first time, they published a dictionary. in Iran, and everybody was using the Berookim dictionary. So Berookim dictionary was used by whoever wanted to learn English. So my name was on every books that anywhere I went, they said Berookim, in the police station, in the government station, in the school, anywhere I said Berookim. For sure I'm Jewish, and for sure my grandfather was a publisher of dictionary. Eventually my grandfather realized that he's very educated. He went to around the world and he realized that there is no hotel in Iran for the tourists to come. So he built hotels in Iran. As a result of that, we had the most luxurious hotel in Iran with 5 restaurants, revolving restaurants. Under the name of Sinai, he put the Jewish name on his hotel to make sure that everybody knows he's Jewish. And the second hotel he built was Royal Garden Hotel. So we were known from that on that this Jewish family owns hotels, and this one has dictionaries, this dictionary has. And then my grandfather was very active in Jewish community for charities. And in Iran, there wasn't such a thing as a family court for Jewish people. So he participated in organizing the Jewish organization for couples who want to divorce, or couple who wants to couples who wants to get married, but they don't have enough money to get married. So he was very interested in that situation. He in the same organization built the old homes for elderly. They built synagogues, and then he built a school. He built a school that I'm the result of that school. I went to that school because all Jewish school, so we didn't have to be discriminated. In the Jewish school, I got discriminated by the teacher. That was very interesting. The Jewish school, we had to have teachers, but there were some Muslims. They came to our schools, and you know, as a young boy, your hair is not always combed as it's supposed to be. So he took his comb and he combed my hair, and he throws the comb to the trash. He says it's dirty now. So.
Okay.
So I had to wash my hands not to put in somebody else's bench and tables in case I get beat up. Now, all the Jews in my school, we got together and we built a club. So anybody who's supposed to be beat up, the club would stand by it and we beat them up ourselves. So that was the only way we could gang against them. In our hotel, I remembered the hotel belonged to a Jewish family. All our employees in the kitchen were Muslim. So that was very interesting things happening. When I came to kitchen, they said, "Oh, you will be the future owner of this hotel. You must become a Muslim." I said, "What it takes to become a Muslim?" Then you have to say, "Ashhadu la ilaha illallah, ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah" 3 times. Then you become a Muslim. Then you'll be okay. I can eat off of your plate. I can touch your plate. So I told them this. As of that time, they thought I was Muslim. In our own hotel, I said, "The son of the future of this hotel is a Muslim. Don't worry, don't bother this boy." And everybody became very friendly with me. And I didn't know why they're friendly with me and not friendly with the others. They became, and I went to the kitchen, they say, "All right, oh, Abraham is here." They're very happy to see me there. And I think during the revolution, after the Khomeini came to power, the same people in the hotel saved my life because they were saving a Muslim life. So they didn't catch me, they catch my uncle, who was a year and a half younger, and they took him to prison, and finally, as you will see, they executed him and accused him of becoming, he was an American spy, which was not true. He was educated in the United States. And when he came back to his homeland, which is Iran, He went to serve the country. He became an officer. So when he came out, revolution started. They took him to prison. And on the date that Begin claimed Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, it was September 31st, 1979. They executed him in the prison without any courts, without any judgment against him or anything. And when we asked him, why did you execute this man? To burn us out more, to punish us more? They say it was a mistake. We shouldn't have done that. It was a mistake. It was somebody else we wanted to catch. So they're actually lying through their nose. Whatever these people tells you, I'm assuring you. They promise you, they sign with you. Since you are not Muslim, in their heart they say whatever they can do to you to deceive you is right. So infidels, you can lie to infidels, you can kill the infidels, you can do whatever you want. There's no justice. This is their mentality. But Americans, they don't understand that. The world, they don't understand that.
So your uncle, how did you find out that he was executed, and what did you do?
I had George Melamed. My uncle was in Iran. He had to go and pick up his body from the prison, and they asked him money from him. They said, why do you kill us? And they said, why do you need money? They said, this is the expense of the bullet, they call it. So they killed him. My uncle picked him up. As a matter of fact, I have the picture of his grave on my camera. I can show it to you later. So then they could not put them in the right place in Jewish cemetery because he was killed in a non-natural way. They have a special place for them to put them down. And they always say that it was a mistake. That's all. What can you do? How can you get your life back? There's no justice there. There's no lawsuits. There is no court system to go in and say, why did you kill your uncle, innocent person? Why do you have to confiscate? Why do you have to kill? They killed Jewish people who were at the top by name. So the rest would escape and live without trouble. That's why so many Jews left. Not because they wanted to leave. They killed the prominent names like El Ghanayan, like Berookim, like Levi. They killed them. And they make the big deal out of it. So a lot of people escaped, left their homes, left their wealth and heritage, culture, life, and they went to Israel. They went to United States. They went to Europe.
Carmel told me that you had a bodyguard, that you walked around with a bodyguard. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about that?
I was approached by American Embassy when I was underground not to be captured before I escaped to Iran by American Embassy. In American Embassy, at that time, there were a group of people who belonged to the consulate, left and went to Canadian Embassy. I think they made a movie under the name of Argo. So they left and they hid themselves in that embassy. They called me. They knew me where I was because I did a lot of transaction with them in terms of reservation of hotels, and they knew who I was. They needed food. They needed support. So I asked the the in the kitchen when the storage area was, to fill up my car with a lot of foods. So I deliver food to them just to make sure that they're okay. And as a result, the American embassy came to me. They thanked me, and they said that they have so much merchandise that they want to sell. How can you sell it for them and give the money back to them? So I was their trust. I sold everything they asked me to sell for them, and I gave the money back to them. While I was doing that, I was captured by the Khomeini people, and they wanted to take me to prison, executed me. I bribed them with the money that I made off of the money that the embassy knew about. They become my partner into selling the stuff to give more back to the embassy. So he was actually a person from inside who was supporting me, and he became my bodyguard. So make sure that nothing happens to me, because he was benefiting as a partner into the deal. And actually he was my bodyguard. He was a person who was, during the Shah's time, in prison. And after the Islamic Revolution happened, they opened the prison's doors up, and he became part of the revolution. And that's why he was not a very educated, innocent person. I'm sure he was very, very guilty. And I don't want to get to the details of his guilt. It's not the time for it. But for the interest of his own, he protected me so I can sell the stuff from the embassy.
What were you selling? What was it?
This is confidential. I don't want to talk about it.
It's okay. It's okay. So before in the days leading up to the revolution, what was the feeling in the Jewish community? What were people preparing to leave?
I was the guy who people came to me and asked me for a visa for the United States. Since I had the in with the embassy, I took a lot of passports from my families, and whoever they came to me, I didn't ask for money or anything. I took it to a private area, private apartment, which was a Filipino lady. I stamped every passport myself, but she signed it because it were so many of them. And then I came back and gave it to them. I saved a lot of them so they can leave the country. At that time, it was very difficult to get the American visa because the embassy was closed. How can you get out? But I had the way to save a lot of people this way.
Wow, that's amazing. So you said that the people who worked in your kitchen helped to protect you. Was that what was that?
When my uncle was in prison, they came and confiscated him, and they told me it was because of me he went to prison, because we both had Abraham Berookim. So I felt very bad that if I'm supposed to go to prison, I should be in prison, not him. So I went back to the hotel. I said, if they want to catch me, catch me. Why do you want to keep my uncle in the prison? As soon as I come to the hotel, in the lobby of the hotel, everybody was shocked. How this guy is coming back to his own property. I showed myself to see who wants to catch me, let the other guy go. If I'm calling me agent for United States, I must be the agent, not him. So what happened was from the telephone operator, they rang up the telephone in the lobby reception and paged me. He said, Mr. Abraham Berookim, please come to phone to the lobby. So I picked up the phone and said, can I help you? He said, Abraham, in the Persian language, we love you. You are a Muslim. We care. We don't want you to get killed. Please leave your hotel. And I said, why I have to leave there? Because we need your hotel. We don't want the Zionist connections. We don't want any Jewish affiliations having any properties, any land. Anything belongs, it belongs to Iran. It belongs to Muslim people. So leave as soon as possible before they come and catch you and they keep your uncle and you both together. And this is the whole reason that we are taking over of your properties. Just kick you out and confiscate everything you have. It's like Hitler time. I got to my car and I left. I listened to them. That's how. It's just 3 sentences that I told them in the childhood when I was very young. Saved my life. Otherwise they would say, why not get another guy? They saved me.
Wow, that's amazing, amazing, amazing. Emotional story.
Yes.
They saved you, but they also took everything from you.
Yes. Because they don't want any, they think that their rights to take. The right to take your land, property, homes, culture, life, anything. They are savage. You want to know the word? This is real savage. But they look like you and me as a human being. But the mentality of Islamic religion is you should read Quran to understand their mentality. Don't get fooled. Don't get fooled. That Islam comes from peace. And this is all garbage. This is all garbage. They want that the Quran said that everybody on earth should become Muslim. If they are not, you are allowed to kill. What else do you want? Why the Christian world doesn't understand that? I don't understand.
So what else did they take aside from your hotel? And if you can give an estimate to the value of assets that was taken from you and your family.
To today's money or 1970?
Both.
I think at that time, we went to Lahore court. We filed a claim against our property in 1979 for $120 million at that time. Only for hotels. Because we had so much properties and lands that we didn't have any record of. We could not say dictionary how much worth. Only for hotel, we claimed 120. We could not claim for the life of damages against the life of my uncle Abi. We said it's not permissible in court. They said that. Today's money is a lot of money because inflation rates, interest rates. I had some employees that they were there and they were talking to me. They said the hotel is full every night and why don't you come back and stay at your hotel? So they wanted me back to kill me again. So they asked me to come back again to get my hotel back, which a lot of people went back and they got caught and they got killed again. So they were fooling other people to go back and do what they really mean to do. And very nasty. Very nasty.
Do you know what happened to the hotel today?
It is a hotel. It is a hotel. We didn't claim from we had a home, we had bank account, we have so many other things that we couldn't take out.
So when you went to the court to claim, what happened?
They said that there's an agreement between the United States and Iran in the Lahore court in Holland that you should have been a citizen of the United States from 1979, a window of 1979 November to 80 of April. If you are a citizen, you became citizen and before. There's a window. your argument would be taken seriously. Otherwise, they won't. We didn't qualify.
So you lost everything.
We lost everything.
Okay, let's take a break for a couple minutes. At least the lowest end, $500 to do it right.
Okay.
So.
We got it. And.
Okay. Here, let's get this
microphone. Oh, it's on. Okay, whenever you're ready.
So if you want to show us your hotel.
You asked me the question, I said, here you are, you see it.
And do you want to talk about what the name used to be and what it is now?
You asked me the question first?
Yeah, so what is the name of the hotel now, and what does it mean?
The name of the hotel is Enqalab. It means revolution. They changed the name from Royal Garden Hotel. As you can see at the top part is a round section that you see. That's the first revolving restaurant that we had in Middle East. So we were very proud of bringing new ideas to Iran. At that time, the hotel was 5-star hotel, but unfortunately, since the owner is not at the top of it, it came to 2.5 star to 3 star. They did not keep the hotel the way we were keeping it well, so depreciated, and it should have been more luxurious, better than what we can see right now. We had 5 restaurants in the hotel. I was the first guy who brought sushi to Iran. At that time, Iranians...
Excuse me, you're going to have to hold. We're running out of memory for the card.
Okay.
So Iranians at that time didn't know anything about Japanese food. I was the first person who brought Japanese food to Iran. And we had 5 restaurants, as I said. We had revolving restaurant, we had the coffee shop, French, Japanese, a steakhouse, and Persian cuisine restaurant. And we had a very big ballroom for weddings. My grandfather always, since he was in the making mitzvah to bring the Jewish family together, if the daughter wants to get married or son who doesn't want to get married doesn't know, he contributed. He gave the hall for free to those people so he can get married. He was very, very, very generous person, very generous.
Can you talk about your wife's family pharmaceutical company? The name of that too.
The name of the pharmacy was Max. And he was the manufacturer of a lot of medicines in Iran. He actually expanded before the revolution in a very big property, and he brought a lot of machineries, and he modernized and everything. Then one day he escaped through Pakistan with a wife, and escaped to come to the United States. His son, he's the genius UCLA professor and researcher. He's researching on cancer at UCLA right now. And he has over 20-some different patents on what he has done. Lost to Iran, gained to the United States. And he has a company which is actually putting together, and he called the name of his company Max again, just to show that he has affiliation with the past. During that time, my father-in-law Dr. Parhami, had very good relationship with Israeli manufacturers. He bought a lot of plastic from them, bought a lot of glasses, imported to Iran, and he even had the Israelis embassy were giving a lot of prizes because he was motivating, to import from Israel. That was, then the government of Iran found out that he worked with Israel, so that was his situation, of course. He was saved through smuggled him out to Pakistan, from Pakistan to Israel. From Israel, he came to the entire family who were in Los Angeles.
So can you talk about, just to go back to the property issue, you told me you wanted me to ask you specifically more about property. Can you just talk about in total, all of the property that was taken from the Jewish community of Iran? You said all of your friends lost hundreds of millions of dollars.
At that time, I estimate, I didn't see any poor Jewish person in Iran. Of course there were, but it wasn't observed. Everybody were helping each other, everybody in a good status, they have their own homes. They have a very comfortable life. Don't forget, it's 2,500 years of civilization, 2,500 years of roots in one country, During Babylon time, they came from Spain, 1492. From Spain, they came to Iran. I know that. That's my wife's side. My wife's side came from Spain to Iran. They went to Kurdistan, so the whole family of my in-laws are from Kurdistan of Iran, which is very traditional, and they're all doctors and lawyers. So there were many physicians were doctors. They're Jewish. Most of the professors at the university were Jewish. So professionals, exporters of carpets, exporters of nuts, except the oil was in the hand of government, were Jewish. Importers of everything in the bazaar was Jewish people behind it. So that shows a lot of wealth. Hotel owners. In my block, not far away from American Embassy, there were 5 hotels. They're all owned by Jews. So Aldous Osteria, Royal Garden Hotel, Imperial Hotel, Sina Hotel, Commodore Hotel, they're all Jews and they were all cousins. It's not only me. It's many people. They don't get the opportunity to come in front of your camera and tell you the reality of the wealth they have lost.
Okay.
100 billion. It was how much they lost.
You're going to have to say that again because we have to
I did a single math. Check my math before we put it on the record.
So give me the number.
100,000 people, let's say 4 million each person average.
100,000 people. Yeah, that sounds right.
100,000 people, no. Divided by 4 in average in the family, say 25,000 families.
Yeah.
45,000 family, multiplied by 4, it becomes 100,000. Right?
I need to open my calculator. I'm not as good as numbers as you are. For sure.
All right. I'm recording now. I can put
Just give me 1 second till I do that. So 25,000 multiplied by 4 million.
Hold on, let me do this the right way.
4 million. 4 million.
4 million multiplied by what?
25,000. It becomes 100,000. 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. So this is $300 billion.
Yeah. Well, they say that it's up to 300 billion, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Iran is $100 billion.
Say it again, but can you do the whole equation? Like, tell him what the math.
Okay.
Or do you want to just sit closer to the
Yeah.
camera?
Here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
At that time, to the best of my knowledge, there were 100,000 Jews in whole Iran. Average of 4 to a family. So you're looking at 25,000 families. 25,000 families. Net worth of average 4 million each. It comes to, the way I calculate, is $100 billion. At that time, at that money, not today. 1979. If they give us the money back, then I justify the Palestinians get something. Otherwise, they should not get anything at all. To justify Iran's right, Iranian rights, Iraqis' rights, Libyans' right, Egyptians, all North Africa, Moroccans, everybody in the Middle East, they were kicked out. That's why we have 50% of Israelis are from that area. How did they come to Israel? Because of discrimination and confiscation of their wealth, they had to go somewhere. Thank God that we have Israel. So they went to Israel. They start from zero. And Baruch Hashem, we have the highest technology in the world and everybody's doing well. But still, they are not happy. Still, we were refugees. We built our life. But they claim that they still have refugees with no life. So they're using the Palestinians as scapegoat for their own agenda of power to hold themselves into the power like Syria and other countries. So the reality is we lost over $100 billion at that time.
Can you tell me the story of escaping in the German pilot?
So I opened the first sushi restaurant in Iran. And I was amazed to see a German fellow comes and have sushi every day. I said, how could it be a German fellow with blonde hair? So we became friends with each other. And I asked him, his name was Stephen. Stephen, what makes you to come to sushi every day? He says, you know what? During the World War II, my father was an attaché to Japan, Japanese government, Germany in Japan. I was born in Japan. I speak Japanese better than German. I was raised with this food. I said, oh my God, this shows something. So, and he asked me, why did I come up with a sushi place in Iran? Because nobody knows what sushi is. I said, listen, I went to school in United States. I educated in the United States. This is my field. I went to Cornell Hotel School. I know exactly what's going on in the restaurant business. So he happened to be the manager of whole Lufthansa Airlines in Iran. And when the revolution happened, I came to him and said, listen, I have to escape Iran. What can I do? He said, I'm going to give you a Lufthansa pilot's uniform. You put it on, you just get on the plane. And I told him, listen, if I put that on, as soon as I go to the airport, everybody knows that I'm escaping with your uniform, because everybody in the airport knows me, that I'm escaping. And I said, I don't put the uniform, but you help me to get tickets, and I pay for tickets. Just give me a seat in Lufthansa Airlines so I can get the hell out. He says, tomorrow I'm flying. It's my wife's birthday. I'm leaving. Would you like to come tomorrow with me? That's what his question was. I said, sure. Who's better than you? So I went, I called my wife up. I was in hiding at that time. I said, I'm leaving. I said, where are you going? I said, I'm leaving out of the United States. He said, what passport are you using? I said, I bought Islamic passport with different names. Don't worry about it. I just paid for that. And I'm leaving. He says, when are you leaving? I said, tomorrow morning. He said, I cannot see you to say goodbye to you. I said, don't worry. And I repeat the same sentence. You edit them, right? Yeah, you don't edit them. Okay, and then I said, when are you leaving? He said, tomorrow morning is my wife's birthday. I'm going. So I called my wife up and said, goodbye. I see you in Frankfurt. So how do you live? I said, don't worry. Remember the man who I bribed? He became a partner. He became my bodyguard. I told him. I said, I have to leave. Everything I have is yours. I don't want anything. My car is yours. This is the gun that I bought you for your birthday. I give him a gun. Don't worry. He says, I'm coming to the airport. So I went to my father's. My father-in-law knew that I was leaving, so he came with medicine to the airport. He gave me pills to relax me down, so I doesn't show. I took an empty luggage with nothing in it, and I looked like a very Muslim with the mustache and with the different shoes and different hairstyle and different things. So nobody would assume that who I am. I went in front of the line. I saw my friend standing behind a lady who checked people's in. I give my passport. He says in German to that lady that this is the gentleman. Give him a seat. Somebody else was kicked out. They put my name on it. They give me boarding card. And I went to check in. They said, open your luggage. They said, well, how come your luggage is empty? I said, I'm going to Europe to bring some merchandise to support my family. In a different accent, Turkish accent, that I know well. And he said, oh, very well, go, don't worry. And I put me on the plane. So imagine I have a mustache, unshaved face, curly hair, different looks, dirty look, you know. So I sat there next to a German in the plane. The German guy says, okay. As soon as we passed the territory of Iranian borders, we went over Turkey. They claimed that now you can drink beer. So I went to the bathroom, shaved, changed my hairstyle, cleaned up myself, changed shirts, everything, become like a regular person. I sat there next to the guy who was a German fellow. He didn't recognize me. He said, I'm sorry, that's not your seats. Okay. I said, oh, you're escaping. I said, yes, I'm escaping. I said, now let's drink beer together. So we drank a couple of beer together, and he got very friendly. He said, I'm sorry, I've been in your hotels. He knew me well after that. So while we were over Turkey, my friend Steve came out of the cabinet. He had the VIP seats in front somewhere. He said hi to him. How's everything? Everything's fine. I said, thank God. I said, don't worry, everything will be okay. So I got in Frankfurt. Wow. So he sat down with me, kissed me, cried with me, and that. And I said that I'm going to Hamburg. So how come you're going to Hamburg? I said, the Japanese fellow who's in partner with me to open the sushi place, the wife is German. And they know that I'm coming and I want to stay with them. And they're waiting for me. Oh, it's your Japanese restaurant. Okay, so you can go. So I went there. I stayed there and they supported me. And then I didn't have anything to have. I had some money that they gave me. I went to Israel. That's the only place I could go. Then my father,
Okay, we need to stop for a second. We'll be finished with the interview soon. We got a lot of good information. What about your wife? How did your wife get out?
she had a different passport with different names. With my son, they left together.
How old was your son?
4 months.
Wow. So the movie Argo, I have to ask because, you know, it's so popular now and everyone is talking about
Ask
it.
me everything, I tell you the truth.
Was Argo, you know, I hear stories about the airports, and that was the most horrible part of leaving, was the fear in the airport and having them go through all of your things. Was Argo real? Did it seem very real to you?
Argo, first of all, the beginning of the Argo movie was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, we're recording.
Okay, so if you can tell me the answer to that question that you said, why did the revolution happen? Why did the Shah leave and Khomeini come, and what happened?
You know, at that time, Iran was very friendly with the United States. Jews had a good life. Everything was very civilized, at least the government. I don't know about the people. But Russia went to Afghanistan, invaded Afghanistan. And for the United States, it was very dangerous. As soon as they get to Afghanistan, they come to Iran, and Iran right to Persian Gulf. The oil is there, and the United States would not have any. They didn't want to have war with Russia. So, in order to prevent communism, which is Russia, and Iran was going with a lot of communist people, younger generation, they were apt to come and make the country communist. The only things that could stop communism in Iran was to bring Islamic religion, because they are very anti-communist. So they decided that it's better to bring Islamic power to the area than to let Russia comes and take over of the oil. So they didn't want the Shah anymore. This was the decision of the United States in principle, but of course got supported by others. They asked Shah to leave, and Shah didn't want to leave. Eventually they forced him. They asked Shah to kill a lot of communists. Shah didn't kill. He was very, very human, very humanistic person. So they said, you are sick, leave the country, till come back till things get better. They brought the most ignorant, religious person imported from Iraq to Paris. They groomed him, they trained him. Who does? I want to tell you. I don't want to tell you this. They brought him to Iran. And they made the revolution, and they killed a lot of communists. A lot of communists. As a result, who suffers? The Iranian people, the Jewish people. And then we had revolutions. This is the reality. And the reason they attacked American embassy was a cover-up, to show that America is not doing anything. It's the real. This is a real revolution. It's not set by America. It has done by Americans. Then they attack Americans. They didn't attack British. They didn't attack France. Why America? Okay. So it was set up. When I was in the embassy, in the first attack that I told you in February 14th, 1979, I spoke to the person in charge of the embassy who will let me to take the merchandise out. I told him why we have a revolution. He told me the story. It's not me. He said, this country going to communism, what is the best to destroy the communist regime? Is to bring Islam. And Abraham, can you see this building across the embassy right now? I said, yes. These all red buildings across? I said, yes. They are all satellite of Russia. They are listening to American embassy. We have to destroy them. That's why we attack the embassy, to protect to protect the information, not to get out.
Wow.
And I asked the consulman, I don't want to give you the name anymore, I said, when are you coming back? He quietly told me, don't ask me that question. So before, as soon as they attacked, they knew that what's going on. They knew the attack is coming. That's why they went to Canadian Embassy. How could you escape to Canadian Embassy? They took those important people, they were with a lot of information, they put them in a safe place. At that time, how could you run through the streets? You could not leave the gates. How could you leave the gates? The whole gates was surrounded by the people. How could you run? As soon as you attack, you leave from the back door? That's not right. I know the embassy.
Do you think that's why the American government lets so many Persian Jews come here? It's like a conciliatory, we're sorry that we let the Islamists in, so we're going to take the Jews and the Baha'i and the...
That comes from American love. The Armenians left, Baha'is left. It's nothing to do, but this is a different things. America always accepted people who suffered. Yeah. That's the immigrant country. It is the country with love for people. But the United States got so much money, so much wealth coming, so much brain. You go and see a lot of hospitals right now, a lot of people who are doing research.
Wow, it's amazing. You know,
They get so much Iranian Jews, Muslim Jews. Muslim Iranians, they are not fanatics. They left too. It's not only the Jews. Whoever was against the system and they were suffered. By the way, I have to interject something. Not only they killed the Jews, they killed anybody who had wealth as well. So they could confiscate their wealth, but they started with the Jews first, and then they went after other people too. So they cooled down the communist people too at the same time. That look, we are confiscating the riches, we're killing the rich, and they're confiscating things. So be quiet. If you make a revolution, fine. Why do you have to kill the people? If it was a real revolution, why you have to kill the rich people? Why do you have to confiscate their properties? Just to cool down the people who were behind the communist ideology, to cool them down. Look, we are killing the Jews who has the money. We kill the rich people who are Muslim. We confiscate this and that, and they are not in the system. But if they were with the mullahs, they said religion is good, so they didn't kill them. And everybody now, Iran is a mess. All the mullahs took over of all the wealth, so are the rich people, and there's no communism anyway.
So just to wrap it up, because we need to finish soon, someone else is going to come. Can you just talk briefly about coming to the United States and settling here, and what happened to you when you came as an immigrant?
So when I came to this country, I was basically with no money. I was 31 years old. My father supported me for a while. Little by little, I went with the borrowing money from the families and other things. I imported some merchandise from Hong Kong. I went on the Venice Beach Promenade where people set up a table there. I started selling Walkman, radios. Then I made some money. Then a couple of rich people came behind me. They put money and said, open a chain of a video store. I opened 2020 Video, became a very big chain in LA. Then I sold it. Then I went after my passion. I opened a chain of Mexican restaurants and Italian restaurants and other things I was involved in that. I sold them all. I made money, profit on it, and I survived and supported my family.
Wow. Would you like to go back to Iran if you could?
This is the country that I was raised in. I lived there till I was 15, 16. I like to go back and see my hotel, to see what happened. I want to go back to see my home, where I was raised. I want to go to Shemran. I want to go to north of Iran by the Caspian Sea, where my childhood was there. I want to go and see some friends that they were very nice to me. I want to see that bodyguard. I am already talking to them. I'm very friendly with Steve, the German fellow who saved my life. We talk to each other. He came to my house in United States with his family. Unfortunately, Mr. Nakai died. He came to my daughter's wedding. When on the way back to Japan, he died 2 years ago. I lost communication with the wife of Mr. Nakai. Steve's wife, who saved my life, died because of cancer. And
Amazing. You can make a movie about your life. You could write a book.
Yeah, everybody asks me that. It's so many details I know.
I know, I bet you have so many more stories than we have time for today.
Yeah, okay, I thank you for... I just finish up with one sentence that everybody has to know this from my experience. I'm 65 years old. I've been around the world many times. This country is a great country because there's justice. In other countries that I've seen, especially in Middle East, there's no justice, there's no uniformity of law. I beg everybody who watched this video to support democracy, support Israel, because this is the real democracy in the world. And if the Palestinian needs the land back, as so-called their land, that I don't believe, first they have to go back and find out why so many Jews went to Israel, who kicked them out, who confiscated their things, why they have to leave their country to go back.
Yeah. Okay, we have to stop.